You want to research the magazines, the journals, the blogs that you're going to be submitting your topic to, because the last thing you want to do is submit like how to deep fry chicken the way your grandma used to do to Vegan Today. Sandy says read, and welcome to the channel. Today, you guys, we're going to do something a little different. Today, instead of talking about books, we're going to talk about a marketing tactic with your books. We're going to talk about how to submit an article to a magazine editor or a blog host for the purpose of promoting you or your book or your topic, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, we're going to talk about how to pitch the article and then how to submit the article successfully. We aren't necessarily talking about freelance article writing today, okay? We're going to be talking about the kind of article writing where you are promoting yourself, or you're promoting your book, you're promoting an item or an idea that's in your book, okay? Now, as we talked about in the press release video, which I will link for you below, you don't want to write an article that's all about, hey, I have a new book and this is great. You don't want to do that. First of all, an editor is not going to print that, but you want to present to an editor something that is valuable to their audience, right? But it's valuable to their audience, and it mentions, by the way, you happen to have a book, right? Okay, we're going to talk about that a little bit during this video, but mostly I will point to the video about press releases to go more in depth on that, okay? All right, now I also recognize that today it is all the rage to reach out to blog hosts and vlog hosts and get your information onto someone's blog. You want to be seen online, right? That makes total sense, because if your information is online, then it is easier to drive traffic back to your online spots. It's easier to drive traffic to your Amazon page where people can just click and buy your book, right? Or click and buy whatever widget you're selling, okay? I get it. That is valid. Nothing wrong with that. There is a quid quo pro. I can't spit that out. There is a quid pro quo that takes place there, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just make sure that you are offering a value to that editor or to that blog host in exchange for getting that link or getting that cross promotion happening, okay? But also recognize that a lot of editors of print journals, print publications are still looking for content, and that is a very good way to get your name out still. Even in this digital age, it is still valuable. It is still recognized as something commendable and something with full integrity to be seen in print. Okay, there is still a level of gravitas when you are seen in print. There just is. So if you can have an article printed in a print publication, a print journal, a print magazine, and also then uploaded to their online content, you're hitting both sides of the coin, right? You're getting in print, so you're getting that gravitas right there. You're also going in their online platforms, so you're getting that shareability right there. That's the sweet spot. That's what we want to do. And we're going to talk today about how to do that, how to pitch your article and submit your article to an editor or a blog host so that you can be in print and online and get all the good stuff out of that. Okay? Before we begin, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. You guys, typically I talk about books here on the BookTube channel. He says read. Typically we're doing book reviews, we're doing BookTube tags, we're doing just bookish stuff. Today we're talking about marketing your books, so it's a little different, but I encourage you to subscribe. There you go. Shall we begin? This is how to submit articles to magazine or blog editors. Yeah, I can spit that out. Oh, it's just the title of the video. Okay, you guys, there are two main points I want you to remember as we go through all of this, okay? Two main points. Number one, treat this as a professional transaction. Even though we're not talking about freelance writing, this is not something you're getting paid for, it is still a professional transaction. Treat it as such, okay? Every bit of this. And number two, do your research. And not just, research which publication you're reaching out to, but research which editor within that organization you need to reach out to. Research how that editor wants to be approached. Research the guidelines. Okay. Research everything. Research, research, research. It matters. It matters because the editor you're reaching out to has no time to hold your hand. I know that sounds a little blunt, sounds a little harsh, but it's the truth. The editor you're reaching out to doesn't have time to coddle you, doesn't have time to say, okay, now here's the link to the guidelines that you obviously didn't look at. They have no time for that. Okay. So there you go. What else do I have here for you guys? All these, okay. So the guidelines that you're looking up on the websites, the editors you're reaching out to, the way that you're reaching out to them, all the things that we're going to be talking about here. Some of these things can shift a little bit if you have a relationship with that editor already, if you already know them. Okay. Let me give you an example from my past. When I worked at the university that shall not be named, I knew the editor of the St. Austin Review. There's a glare on it, I'm sure. There's a halo glare on it. Oh, how fitting is that? Okay, so STAR, that's the name of this journal that was published at the university. I knew Joseph Pierce because we worked together at the university. I saw him almost every day, right? So I looked up the editorial calendar for the St. Austin Review, and I saw an opportunity to write an article. I saw the deadlines. I went to Joseph and said, I have this idea. I pitched him the idea. So I could just walk up to him and say, I've got this idea. And that worked out fine. And so I have an article in the March, April 2006 St. Austin Review. It's about the Brontes, and it's very nice, if I do say so myself. But the way that came about was very, it was still professional, but it was very casually professional. Okay. That's how that worked out. So if you know the editor, there may be ways you can circumvent all of the rigid rules and rigid guidelines. But again, that's based on your relationship with that editor. If you don't know the editor, holy crap, follow the guidelines. Okay. All right. Let's dive into our video. Let's dive into the steps of the process for reaching out to an editor, for pitching and submitting your article. I've got 4 steps for you. All right. 4 steps in this process. 1, pitch the article to the editor or blog host. You're not going to just randomly send an article to these people, right? You're going to pitch the article first. Number 2 is submit the article after the editor has said, yeah, we'd like to see that, right? Number 3, revisions and edits. Number 3 in this whole process is revisions and edits. And number 4 is sharing after the fact, right? Let's dive in and look at those separately. So the first thing in this whole process is pitching the article. You have to start with the pitch, and I've got 5 steps for that. Now, these are steps for pitching an article that is promotional in nature. It really is. Okay. You're still going to focus on that audience. You're going to focus on what that audience wants to read and what is useful and educational for that audience. But there's going to be a touch of promo in there. Okay. So this is not necessarily how to pitch a freelance article. Okay. This is not something you're getting paid for. This is something that is that quid pro quo that I can barely say. Okay. Number 1, you're going to focus on your press release. Okay. Number 2, you're going to write what you know. Number 3, you're going to research the magazine that you're pitching to. Magazine, journal, blog, whatever, right? Okay. Number 4, have your article ready. Like when you get this started, right? Have the article ready. Even before the editor says, yeah, I want it, have it ready. And number 5, be flexible. Now let's talk about each one of these. 1 is your press release, right? We're still at the pitching phase, right? We're pitching this article here. Have your press release ready. Now, I'm going to provide for you a link to the press release video that I did a few months back, all right? Because I went in depth on what the press release should and should not be, how to get your headline right, how to get your deck right, how to get your lead right, everything about the press release. Because that press release is your first impression with this editor, right? And that press release is telling that editor, here's what I can offer your audience. Here's what I can do for you and your audience. Okay. It's vital and it's important. Okay. So just remember, the press release is not, I have a new book. The press release is not, I have a product to sell. That is not what your press release is. Your press release is going to be, here's something I can show your audience. Here's something I can do for your audience. Here's something I can teach your audience. Oh, and by the way, I have a book. Okay. So the second item in how to pitch to this editor is going to be write what you know. Okay, that should be self-explanatory, but I'm going to give you an example of how that kind of didn't work out for someone pitching an article to me. You guys may know, let me show you. I am, during the day job, I am the editor of Asphalt Pro magazine. This is a construction magazine, okay? So construction articles are what I'm looking for when people pitch article ideas to me, specifically asphalt construction, horizontal paving with asphalt, or asphalt mixed design, or producing asphalt, ways that asphalt is green and recyclable, yada, 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 right? Okay, so a PR agency sent me a pitch with a number of article ideas that this CEO of their client could provide me. And one of those articles was suicide prevention and mental health related. And that is a big topic right now in the asphalt industry, in the whole construction industry. I targeted on that one and said, this right here, yes, please. Well, the CEO or someone prepared an article that, yes, was about suicide prevention and mental health wellness in the construction industry. But like within 2 to 3 sentences of the lead, I realized that they had pulled information and research that was like 7, 8, 9 years old. Okay, it was not current. It did not reflect the current state of the industry. It was old, and these people didn't know what they were talking about. So here I have an article that I can't use, and now I have to go back to the PR agency and say, hey, we need to edit this, we need to fix it, we need some more current information, like from these sources. And I'm giving this PR agency the sources to use to rewrite the article. Editors don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. But that's one of those instances where the PR agency, that CEO, should have been writing what they know. Point number 3 in pitching your article idea to an editor is research, right? Doing your research. Research the publication that you're interested in. Okay, so let's say your topic is food. Let's say you're writing a book about food and you've got a bunch of recipes in there. All right, look at your recipes. If most of your recipes include carnivore stuff, if it's an omnivore type of recipe book, you probably shouldn't be submitting your topic ideas to Vegan Today. That audience is going to be very unhappy with you. That editor is not going to accept your stuff. Right? There's no point in wasting your time pitching to Vegan Today, right? Look for publications that would welcome information from an omnivore health book, and pitch to the correct editor at that publication. If you are writing a book on golf, okay, and you want to submit your idea to Sports Illustrated, well, you're not going to submit your idea to the swimsuit editor. You're going to submit your idea to the golf editor. And now you can see that I know nothing about Sports Illustrated because I don't know if they have a golf editor, but you see what I mean. Okay, you understand. If you have a specific topic and you're looking at a specific publication, go to that publication's website, because they will have a website, and look at the masthead. Look at the list of editors, and the information will be there. You'll be able to tell who should be receiving your pitch, who should be receiving your email of, hey, I've got this idea. Here's my press release. Okay. All right. Point number 4 in pitching your article is have your article ready. Have it ready. You know what your topic is. You know what you're writing about, because that was one of our steps, right? You know your topic. You've got your article ready. Get it ready. Write it. Polish it up. Have it ready. So when that editor gets your email, reads your press release and says, oh my gosh, I've got this hole in the January issue. I've got to fill it. This person has just sent me an idea, and that idea would fit in here perfectly. Yeah. And then the editor comes back to you and says, how soon can you send me that? Well, I can send it to you today. Here it is. Okay. That is the ideal situation, right? That's what you want. You never know when an editor is going to have something that is falling apart on them, and you can be the hero. When you're that's wonderful when you're the hero. I actually had a situation happen. Oh, late last year, late in 2023. I think it was late 2023. I'm bad with dates, okay? But the company, and I'll go ahead and say their name here because this is a good, positive, happy example. The company is Modern Hydrogen, and they make an additive for the asphalt industry. And their PR person was working on an article for the future. And she also prepared, just out of the blue, she also prepared for me an article for my Women of Asphalt series. They have a woman in their lab who is doing great things and taking care of business. And so she, the PR person, went ahead and put together an article in the style and format of our Women of Asphalt series. She researched a need at my publication. She researched how the article typically looks. She put it together and she had it ready for me. And she asked me, hey, would this be of interest to you? Could you use this? Heck yeah, I can use that. I need that right now. And I said to her, yes, that would be great. Send it on over. She sent it on over and it was perfect. It was formatted. It was exactly the way I needed it. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is great. You are my favorite person today. She was my hero that day. And I am excited to work with her every time she calls. I'm excited that she's calling because she's probably going to have an answer to a problem for me. That is how you become an editor's best friend. So she did her research. She had everything ready. Research that Emily had done so that she had the article ready to go for Asphalt Pro. She knew the point of view. She knew the format. She knew how the thing looked. You can do that. You can do that for these publications. Just go online, look through a couple of their articles, look through a couple of the things that they have posted, and you'll be able to see like the level of formality when they talk to their audience. You'll be able to see what point of view they typically use. Is it usually I do this, you do this, she, he, they do this? You'll be able to tell how they format their articles, and you'll be able to emulate that when you prepare your article for that publication. Last point in pitching your article, getting your article pitched to these folks, is to be flexible. Okay. Like I just mentioned, the editor might say, oh my gosh, can you send that right away? Or how soon can you send that? Be ready to send it immediately. The editor might not get back to you right away. It might be a month before that editor responds and says, okay, I've looked at your press release. It looks great. Can you send me, an outline? Can you send me the basics? Or can you send me the article? And I'll get back to you after I read it. Okay, be flexible with this. Also be flexible with any changes that editor wants to make. Now that's going to start getting into the submission and the ending process here, but be flexible with any changes they need to make. That editor is looking at this thing for the magazine's style, looking at it for their audience's, I don't want to say level of education, but for their audience's typical reading expectations. They're looking at it for the time of year that it's being used. There may be some seasonal stuff they need to tweak in there, right? That editor is going to be looking for all kinds of things they need to edit or fix or make right for their audience. Okay? They're looking at it for their audience. They're not trying to attack you in making changes. They're just wanting to make it the best article it can be for their audience. They're trying to improve upon it, make it the best for you and the audience. So be flexible, be helpful, be ready to help out. But remember, these editors are busy, right? And they might not get to your piece until the last screaming moment. It might be that editor might be under the gun when they realize, holy crap, that article that I read through actually needs to have X number of paragraphs yeeted from it. I need the author to help me yeet those paragraphs. So the editor is going to come back to you and say, hi, can you look at this today? Can you help me find X number of things to remove by tonight? And just be flexible and able to work with that editor. 5 steps in pitching the article to a potential editor or blog host started to touch on the submission process, and they started to touch on editing. So let's go ahead now and dive into how to submit your article to a magazine editor or blog host. All right. Please remember, these editors and even these blog hosts, they're very busy. They're very busy. They don't have time to hold your hand. So we're going to do two things here. Number one, we're going to look on the website for the submission guidelines. Look for the guidelines and follow those guidelines to the letter. And number two, we are not going to badger the editor after submitting your article. Okay. You've pitched the idea to them and they have said, yes, send me the article. You follow the guidelines and send it in. Don't send multiple emails afterward asking for an update on that article. Please, please, please don't do that. Please don't do that. I'm going to give you an example of that happening and how I dealt with it. But the guidelines should be on the publication's website. If the publication doesn't have like submission guidelines posted on their website, it is reasonable to ask the editor during the pitch process, hey, what are your guidelines for submitting? The editor has asked you to send the article. It is acceptable to say, I could not find guidelines on your website, thus showing you tried. Could you send me guidelines? Let me know how to submit the article. It is perfectly acceptable to do that. It shows that you're trying. It shows that you're wanting to be an easy person to work with. Okay. It shows that you're trying to help make that editor's life easier. All right. And the editor probably has a link or a PDF that you can send to you. Okay. Easy breezy. And then you'll know what the submission guidelines are and you can follow those to the letter. There is a reason those guidelines exist. Okay. The reason is to standardize everything that's coming in. And there's a reason we want it standardized. The editor must send this stuff to the production department, but the editor must take everything that you send, that every freelancer out there sends, that every PR agency out there sends, and format it for a production manager or a production department or a graphic designer. If everyone is sending something different, then that editor has to format everything that comes in. If everything that comes in is standardized to a specific way, it is easier for the editor to then take everything and make it nice for the production department. Does that make sense? Are you tracking with me here? This is especially important in like publishing houses for books and such, right? It's all so important there for so many reasons. That's another video for another day. Okay. But when you send your article to the magazine editor, you want it to fit their guidelines. So it makes it easier for that editor. This also shows that you are willing to help make things easier for that editor. It shows you are able to follow directions. It shows that you are able to look at details and pick out details and make details line up. I mean, it shows so much. It demonstrates so much about your abilities when you can follow guidelines. It just does. Remember in the press release video, we talked about that first impression. This is your next impression, okay? If you can't follow guidelines, this is a red flag. This is a big red flag for editors. Trust me. This editor is telling you. All right. Now, after you have submitted your article to the editor, sit back and relax. Some editors have a system that will automatically ping you and let you know this has arrived. Thank you. Sit back and relax. After submitting the article, I want you to resist the urge to badger the editor. Some editors will have an automatic reply so that when the article comes in, it automatically pings you and says, this has been received. Sit back and relax. I personally will send a quick note that says, I have received this. I will get to it shortly. Sit back and relax, right? Okay. I get back in touch with the human through my human self. I don't use an automatic reply because first of all, I don't know. First of all, I can't have an automatic system telling some freelance author, some freelance writer when something's going to happen because I can't guarantee. With the way our magazine is set up, I can't guarantee that something will be printed within a certain number of weeks of it having arrived. I can't guarantee that. And I don't want some automated system trying to guarantee something to somebody on my behalf. I can't do that. So I send a little message saying, hey, this has arrived. I have received it. I will be looking at it shortly, and I will get back to you with a potential publication date, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm a human. So I try to give it that human touch. Here's the problem. Not everyone is excited about, I will be back in touch with you shortly. Okay, not everyone gets excited about that. And I'm going to give you an example. I wrote this down for you because you guys know I'm terrible with dates. So I wrote the dates down so I didn't screw this up. On March 26th, I received an initial cold email from an individual. On March 29th, I replied. Yes, it took me that long to get back to that person. It was a cold email. I wasn't expecting it. I replied. And I replied with, yeah, this sounds interesting. This article sounds interesting. Tell me more about it. May 2nd. So it took from my response on March 20th to May 2nd for this person to get back to me again. And this person replied with affirmative. You could get this article together for me. So on that same day, on May 2nd, I offered my concerns about the article he was pitching, a deadline of June 5th for this article to come in, and a form for him to sign. I have a form that folks have to, they have to sign this form saying that they wrote the article and they have checked with their sources and their sources know they're being quoted in the article. All right. And on May 2nd, he confirmed that he would get the article to me by June 5th, but he didn't sign the form. I didn't get the form back. On May 7th, so right away, May 7th, the completed article arrived, but there was no signed form and there was no byline on the article. So this article arrived basically a month ahead of when I was expecting it. In the middle of me dealing with another issue that we're going to discuss in this same conversation, in the middle of me dealing with another issue and in the middle of me doing a deadline. So I was doing other things and I did not send that response email that I typically send. I failed to do that. And I'm admitting this right now on camera. So on May 7th, I did not send the, hey, this arrived, I've got it, and I'll get back to you shortly. I didn't send that on May 7th. I neglected. So on May 10th, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 3 days later, May 10th, he sent an email back with one line. And the line was, please get back to me regarding the draft article. So on May 12th, which was a Sunday, on May 12th, I sent an email to him letting him know the article, I had received it and it was on my radar. And then on May 13th, which was Monday, I read the article. And it was obviously an AI generated piece. It was not what we had discussed up here on May 2nd. My concerns that I had were still there. And it was not a good article. And considering this, please get back to me regarding the draft article 3 days after he had sent it, I was like, this is not a person I want to work with. I was in the middle of the thing we're going to talk about in a second. And I wasn't going to deal with another obnoxious freelance writer. I wasn't going to do it. And so I just sent a rejection. I'm like, I'm sorry, this doesn't work. I can't use this. And I sent a rejection. I haven't heard back from him. I'm recording this on May 25th. So from May 13th to May 25th, I haven't heard back. And that's fine. I don't need to hear back. I was in the middle of dealing with a safety professional who was writing a safety article for me. This person had written the safety article, supposedly, and I had received it. And I was trying to get that person to send me information. Basic information, and it wasn't going well. Every time I asked for a piece of information, the reply was, when will this article run? Can I have an update about the article? And I'm like, well, first, could you give me the picture not embedded in the Word file? And then I got a picture that was not the picture. And can you give me an update on the article? I'm like, oh my God. So I was having that conversation back and forth with a problematic freelance writer. And it was not going well. And it was frustrating me. So for this individual to also start to show signs of being an impatient freelance writer, I thought, no, I'm not going to have two of these happening at the same time. I'm not going to do it. So what I'm saying to you all out there is the editors are busy. The editors don't want you badgering them. I will not work with that person. This safety person, I'm not going to work with again either, because I don't have time to hold their hands I cannot guarantee when the article will print. And me saying to them, I can't guarantee when this will print, doesn't go over well. This just turned into a therapy session. What I'm saying to you is editors don't want to be badgered. And if you badger the editor after you submit the article, you run the risk of that editor saying, screw this, I don't need your article after all. And you've lost an opportunity. You lose an opportunity to work with that editor in the future. You lose the opportunity to have your article printed. You just lose. You lose out. Don't lose out because you're badgering someone. Don't be impatient. Sit back, wait, be patient. Number one in this is a professional transaction. Okay. Okay. Let's get back on track. I'm done using this as a therapy session. We'll get back on track. All right. So the revisions and edits step of the process. Let's talk about the revisions and edits. When the editor reaches out to you and says, hey, the article is looking good. I'm working on it now. I've got a couple of revisions for you here. Got a couple of edits for you here. Just be flexible. Work with that editor. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the editor is not attacking you. The editor is not attacking you. The editor's not doing anything rude or mean. Nothing bad is happening here. The editor is trying to improve upon what you guys have got. Okay. The editor is trying to make it as good as it can be for the audience. That's all. If you can help the editor make it better for the audience, that is a good, positive thing. The editor is going to remember that. The editor is going to remember that good experience of working with you. And the next time you want to submit an article and you reach out to pitch that article, the editor is going to go, ooh, this person was easy to work with. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. And in my notes, I've mentioned here, this could be happening at the last minute. You never know when that editor is going to be like under the gun. You never know when something is going to drop out of a magazine issue. You never know when a blog post is going to like fall apart and the editor is going to come to you and say, oh my gosh, we're moving you up in the schedule. Can you help finish this off? Your answer is yes, I can, right? Okay. The more flexible you are, the more you are able to help that editor, the better. All right, now let's move on to the sharing step of the process. This is the last part, right? The last part of the process is the sharing step. Once the article is printed, once it's published, it's out there for the world to read. You want to share it, of course. Just check the publication's guidelines, check what their rules are for sharing. Most publications are going to be excited that you're sharing this stuff, okay? Most of them want to have that cross promotion, right? They're going to have certain, they're going to have certain rules in place. There is copyright to deal with, right? There's going to be certain rules in place about photocopying or scanning anything that they have printed in their publication. They have a graphic artist who has laid out this gorgeous layout, right? There is now copyright affixed to the final product and the way it has appeared in their publication. This is the rules, right? So you do want to double check, make sure that it's okay to scan that. It's probably not. Just double check, just ask. It depends on how you want to use it, right? I mean, if you want to take their product that they have created from your story and sell reprints of it, you probably cannot do that. But if you want to just have a copy of it to put on your wall, that's probably not a problem. I mean, if you're proud of the fact that you had your article about some scientific discovery in Scientific American and you want to put that on your wall, that's great. That's awesome. They are probably going to be pleased that you want to do that. Go for it. The answer is probably going to be go for it. Ask, check the website, look and see what you're allowed to do. Okay. Now, once they have the article up on their website, double check and see, is it behind a firewall? Is it behind a pay gate, right? Check and see. Maybe what you're allowed to do is show like a picture from the article with a teaser and then a link to their website. That is still pretty awesome and great for you to have on your social media. You are still promoting the fact that you had an article in Scientific American, and here's the link to it. right? That is driving traffic to their website, that is driving traffic to them. They're going to be excited about that. And you look pretty darn good because you just had an article printed in Scientific American or Mechanics Today or Asphalt Pro, right? This is all good. This is cross promotion and it's great. And at that time, it is totally awesome and cool and great and acceptable to send a note to the editor saying, thank you for using my article. Here's a link to where I have shared it on my social platform. Here's a link to where I have included your front cover and a link to my article on my website. It's totally cool to do that because then the editor knows, A, you're thankful, you're a nice person. B, you're sharing it. You're helping promote the article. You're helping promote their publication. You're helping get traffic flowing, okay? The editor is going to appreciate that. The editor is probably going to share that with their social media manager. Okay, they're going to help cross promote you more. And the next time you want to pitch an article to that editor is going to go, oh, yeah, they help us after the fact. All right. Key takeaways from today's video. This is a professional transaction. Editors are overworked and have no time to coddle you. You're serving the editor's audience. Okay. Yes, you want to put a little bit of promotion in there. You're talking about your book or your widget or your product, but this article that you're preparing is for the editor's audience. You are speaking to an audience. You're offering an audience something valuable, something educational, something that they're going to get something out of. You're the expert. You're the one giving them this stuff. So they'll want to know more about you. They'll want to look you up. They want to know, well, who is this expert talking to me? They'll want to look you up. They'll want to say, oh, you wrote a book about this. Well, I'll look that up too. You're the expert. You're giving the audience something. This isn't about your book. This isn't about your product. This is about something you can offer the audience, right? All right. In summary, to submit an article to an editor or a blog host out there today, I want you guys to pitch it professionally, right? Pitch it professionally. Prepare your press release. There's a link to press release video below. Write what you know. Research where you're sending this. Have your article ready and be flexible. And second, you guys submit it professionally, right? Okay. Submit it according to the publication's guidelines. And then don't harass the editor afterward. The editor will get in touch with you. The editor might get in touch with you at the last minute, but they will get in touch with you. They're not going to leave you hanging. Unless they're crazy, they're not going to leave you hanging. It's going to be all right. Okay. That's it. If you have questions, you can leave those in the comment field below. I do lurk around here and I do get back to folks who leave comments and questions and stuff. I will get back to you. It might take a hot minute because I'm an editor and I'm really busy, but I will get back to you guys. And there are other people who frequent this channel who are also very well versed in this stuff. Okay. I know editors, I know publishers who can also answer questions, and they, I know, will help out in the comments field below as well. So leave your comments, leave your questions. Let's have a good, helpful discussion. All right. Thumbs up for getting your article to an editor and getting that cross promotion to happen. Thank you for tuning in.